Fuck those privacy policy messages. I've got thousands of them. Blah, 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 blah. That's not how the music goes. That's just me falling down onto my chair because I'm tubby. Thanks, Pedro. You the best. Right. Hello. I'm BoredGamer. Yeah, so we'll be talking about Star Citizen in general. That's what we do on Fridays. We'll be streaming another Star Citizen day a week as well. Like, Star Citizen has its own days of the week. No, we'll be streaming Star Citizen on another day of the week as well, because I want to do gameplay regularly now, because 3.1.4 is really good for gameplay. Like, we can play it. It's not stressful. There's some cool stuff to do. There's enough content there for us to play regularly before 3.2 comes out. And when 3.2 comes out, there's a load more gameplay. So I'm going to start doing that regularly. I'll be playing with you guys on Discord, and Zen, and some of the other BoredGamer streamers, and that sort of stuff, and other streamers that are around. I'm hoping to play with Jay Lee and people again, because I had some great times with Jay Lee and some of the other devs previously. If you want to ask any questions about the Star Citizens, about me, about my channel, about whatever, chuck them in the comments with a bracket question in brackets, then I can pick it out. And if you don't do that, then I'm less likely to pick it out. And if I haven't answered your question, feel free to ask it again, but don't ask it every few seconds. Give it a good amount of time, give it like 5-10 minutes. And I probably have answered your question already if I keep on ignoring it. Or your question is full of loos and sort of baity or trolly, in which case I'll go, fuck you, buddy, or buddiette, whatever, or any non-gender specific buddy, I don't know. So we'll go through some of the news in general. We'll answer questions in between. We might play some Star Citizen later, depends on what time it is. And around in an hour and a half, 2 hours, I am going to dash off and play Forest with Zin, because we're going to finish it, I think, this weekend. Timber, it's your new name. Thank you very much for the sub. I appreciate it. Any donations I get for the rest of this month and probably the first week of next month will be going into buying a stupidly expensive Optane 905p drive. So the ones that they've talked about recently on the Star Citizen YouTube, and they've previously talked about other 900 drives, which are smaller and cheaper, and what they were trying to push, I suppose. But the 905s are super expensive, but they are a little bit more optimized and they're larger. And I'm going to get one so I can review it, actually hands-on review, and compare it to my 900p drive, because I do have an Optane drive. But also it's larger, and I'm going to do all my video editing on it, because apparently it cuts down your time in like half for video editing and things like that. So it'll be useful. It might be a piece of crap. Thank you very much, Hannah. Very much appreciated. Woohoo, 905. What colour do you plan on having it glow? I thought it could only glow blue. And that's got an LED in it, but I mean, they're stupidly expensive. I think the 480 gig one is 600 quid. So that's like $750, I think ish. So $700 maybe. And the other one is $1,300, something like that. That's for 960 gigabytes. It's stupid, super expensive. Certainly not mainstream consumer. But I like to look at stuff like that. And also, if you are looking for a short-term to mid-term, probably actually even a long-term storage solution, and you want a fast SSD, then get a good NVMe drive. Get like a Samsung 960 Pro, something like that. That's what I recommend at the moment, because there's loads of cool Optane stuff that is coming in the future, and other associated similar technology, which will get cheaper and faster. That's my current opinion on it. I reserve the right to change my mind. You know, based on experience and messing around with stuff like that. Yeah, Optane drives so last year. I'm not even sure if the 905s come with a free ship. What a swizz! Right, let's see if we've got any questions before we start. I want to say, obviously, Total Biscuit has died, which is a shame. People that don't know him, he was a very cool, very honest, very brute force, blunt YouTuber that helped the gaming industry no end by giving no shit review, no shits given reviews. Well, it's hard to explain actually, because he obviously gave it a huge amount of shits about the community and about gaming, but he didn't take crap from anyone, and he was very honest. And he gave very good reviews. Him and Jim Sterling, very, very much people I very much enjoy the content of, and I think they've been a massive plus to the gaming community. And it's a very shame that he died. I believe, I haven't actually done much research into it. I knew he had cancer. I knew at the beginning of May he said he is basically retiring because he doesn't have much time left. His treatment hadn't worked in the way that he had hoped, and he was spending the rest of his life with the highest quality of life he could, with his family and stuff. And it's a horrible shame and thing, but if anything good comes out of it, I hope it a look towards health, people more willing to go to the doctor if they've got something wrong with them, or if they've got something wrong, people more likely to go and get health checked. I know in some countries it is expensive to have health checks. I'm very lucky to be in the United Kingdom with the NHS, at least at the moment, where we, like, I recently, very recently in fact, had terrible chest pain and burning on my shoulders. Thought I was having a heart attack. Phoned up the doctor. They went, probably not having a heart attack. It's fine. If it happens again, go to A&E, but come and see us tomorrow. And they gave me loads of tests, ECGs and stuff. I've still got to have chest X-rays and stuff. But they're giving me full blood work. They're giving me urinalysis. They're checking my prostate. They're doing everything, and it's all very sensible things to do in the UK because it's effectively free. And I will give you an update on my health as I go forward, but I'm pretty sure I'm fine. I just had an ache because I've got a treadmill and I'm really unfit at the moment. So at the moment I'm getting fit, and I think I talk about mental health on my channel. I suffer from bipolar and OCD and lots of other weird anxious things. But I think physical health and mental health very much linked. and it's important to have both of them. But yeah, I just wanted to I'd say with the Total Biscuit thing, it's a shame for anyone to die, really. But he was someone you could have sort of like. He was big in the community. He was a big figure, and he was a very reasonable, cool dude. And it's a shame. That's all I can say. But yes, sorry, I didn't mean to put it down or anything, but it's true. We have to face death. When I bought my Optane 900p, it came with a Sabre Raven. Do you know if the 905 comes with a ship? I don't know. I don't think it does. It hasn't been advertised as such. If it was promoed like that, it would be fucking everywhere, wouldn't it? Do you know if we'll be able to slave the turret on the Hurricane to the pilot? I believe you will be able to. That's not 100% confirmed, but I believe you will. I'm pretty sure they've said that. However, the ship won't be that effective like that. The ship is relatively lightly armoured. It is a heavy fighter, but it's a heavy fighter because it's got a big gun on it, and it's fast and longer range, I think, is the idea. It's got heavy armament, is the idea. So it's supposed to be fast, but not agile, and the idea of having that gun turret manned is that you can use the ship properly by darting around and aiming at targets. If you're just flying at something, you're going to be strafing, and it's not going to be used very well. So a lot of turrets are going to be able to be slaved. However, they do want the best option to always be a human manned gun. Thinking of switching Twitch sub to Patreon. Is that more beneficial to you? Track and arrow. Maybe? Probably. Whatever's comfortable for, like, I'm not... Okay. Whatever is most comfortable for anyone that wants to further support me. I'm super happy that I get to play games and cover Star Citizen for a living. That's fucking cool. My job is going to be evolving. I'm be running, hopefully one day, a little YouTube empire, move into other games as well, potentially. But I get to do stuff that I love. I love the idea of Star Citizen. I love the project. I love the community. And people watching and sharing my videos and giving me comments and stuff like that is huge help. I get a good amount from Patreon, from YouTube and stuff. So whatever is the most comfortable way of people further backing me if they want to. It's all good. Thank you very much, by the way. I don't want to overly suggest one. If it was purely you didn't mind whatever, then probably Patreon, probably. But I don't really know. Whatever's easiest. Thank you. Do you think it's better that the Nox and Dragonfly... Do you think it's better that Nox and Dragonfly can fly as well as their normal hover function, or better without flight? Oh, I see what you mean. I would have... Do I like the idea of the Nox and the Dragonfly just being ground-based? Maybe? Because they're not, my mind won't give it much thought. I love the fact they're cool on the ground. I love the ground level stuff now that it's fixed in 3.1.4. Flying on the ground, that's really fun. That's really cool. However, I like them in space as well. They don't have much use in space at the moment because we don't have much to carry them in, and we don't have proper combat. We don't have that sort of PvP nature. We don't have many uses where we can make good use of them in space. But I think let's reserve that. I'm going to reserve to answer that question in the future when we have more test cases and uses for the Nox and Dragonfly and the X1 in space. I'm not entirely against the idea of them just being on the ground, but I suppose CIG would be seeing that they work in space and they've been sold as such. The design of the 905p is also updated now with glowing LED lights. I thought it was just blue. By default they're blue, but you can change the colour to red or green via Intel's SSD toolbox. Oh, cool. I will. I'm going to poke JR Fabrication at some point. And I'm probably going to get one of their really cool official Star Citizen cases, things that they've made. And I'm going to do some form of PC build. And I'll probably make it a non-CIG sponsored, non-Intel sponsored, unless they want to sponsor it, mega build. I've seen all these other guys in America getting their free PCs. Nah. I'm going to make my fucking own now. More Intel product pushing. That seems to be the only thing that Star Citizen is about these days. I mean, it's not. Obviously, it's a good idea for them to get into bed with Intel. Depleted cores, you're going to have to deal with them. I mean, they're not pushing it that much. They've been doing competitions and giveaways with the Optane drives, but they're not shoving it down your throat where they're saying, you have to buy Optane. They did do a video, admittedly, yesterday, which was sort of like, and this is the cool things about Optane. But that was actually from March in GDC, with more of a talk about them and talking about Intel technology. I don't think they're overly jamming it down our throats, and I like the fact that it helps fund the game. I think that's reasonable. How do I ask a question properly? You did it properly. Good job. Hey, Bored, what part of the UK, as abroad as you want to be, are you in? I'm in Hampshire, the middle south. What do you recommend eating in the area? So I actually live in a town called Southampton, and me and my mate, one of my best friends in the world, we used to go out eating regularly, but I was always working and busy, as you say with Steve, all the time. So we'd always sort of like meet up, and I'd go, well, so where are we going then? And they're like, we don't know. So we just kind of wander around the nice eating areas until she needed the toilet, and we just rushed in somewhere. It's typically what happened. But we found some really nice ones on Oxford Street. So there's some like the White Star and a few other of the nice bistro pubs there. They're pretty reasonably priced as well. But there's at Oxford Street in City Centre of Southampton, very good place to eat. I am a bit of a foodie. Like I critique food, and it has to be done well. I used to run restaurants. Do you know if you'll be able to slate? Then we've already talked about that. But you should be able to slay the turret forward. I'm assuming that is still the case. You may even be able to put an AI module in there. Maybe. I mean, it might not have the room for it. And that would do what you told it to do to an extent. So as I understand, you have blades in ships based on their computer sizes, and some can have AI modules which would then say it can do a task semi-dumbly. So it would be like, shoot all missiles and torpedoes that come near me, or shoot all enemies that attack me within this range. It's sort of like plot and do it. An NPC would be better than that, and then a human would be better than an NPC, typically. Do you know when the 3.2 Evocati starts? Good question. I believe the last Evocati phase that we had for 3.1 was at the just after the first week. So I think it was like on the 7th or the 8th of March. So expect the same sort of thing for 3.2. Expect it any time within the next 3 weeks. When will people understand that Optane is absolutely not performing better than any other NAND or SSD for gaming? What it is doing, though, because that's not technically true, is that they've got very low latency. Oh, for the VNAND, okay. Yeah, there's lots of other potentials for Optane. They're too expensive, from my opinion, but obviously some people are incredibly affluent financially. So if you want the best, Optane are pretty overpriced, but they're some of the best. Oh, 3.1.4 is an absolute great patch. No. We need we need the quarterly release patches for 3.1, 3.2, and stuff like that is great. And this 3.1.4 patch has proved that they will fix and sort stuff out in the interim. This is the best patch we've ever had for Star Citizen, in my opinion, by far. Will CIG be having an open all Memorial Day sale? So typically, a few times a year, they have a good amount of ships on sale. They'll have like a sale where almost all the ships are on sale towards like CitizenCon time, so October time, and we might see other dates for sales. Thanks, Passio. Patreon donations go mostly to the creator. Thank you. It's Twitch gets more of a cut. YouTube lets cut. Yeah, I don't really know. It's whatever's most comfortable for the viewer, to be honest. Bob Mitch. Feel free to put your, as long as the auto mod might fuck you up, feel free to put your channel in there. And Huntress, feel free to put Talons Outer Haven recruitment page in there. So Talons Outer Haven are giving away a Tonkin Turtle, a Tumbril Nova tank, and a Terrapin. That's the sound the Terrapin makes on my channel this month because they're awesome. So check them out, Talons Outer Haven. Let's post this here. And they are roleplay orientated, and they are a smaller org, and they're trying to keep their numbers small. So I'm assuming they're pretty good at vetting people. But if you're interested, check them out. Huntress is also one of my awesome mods, and amazing. Thank you, Huntress, honestly, for your support. And Bob Mitch is a up-and-coming content creator I sat next to at the most recent I62 Insomnia Gaming Festival, and I want him to make a lot more content. So I will be helping promote that as best I can, and hopefully working with you in the future. Question: what is your opinion about owning outposts now that CIG has confirmed surface bombardment from bombers? How vulnerable do they think they will be claimed in how vulnerable do you think they will be, especially in unclaimed systems? Well, good job that you mentioned that, actually, because there was a Q&A from about the Hercules, which I'll post here, and they basically said, how can an outpost defend itself against a bombing from a Hercules A2? Players can protect themselves from air attacks by setting up anti-air defenses. As far as destroying an outpost goes, that's something we're looking into, along with ramifications that would have on the law system. But you correctly identify that in unclaimed areas, or areas where there is a minimal amount of law and legality, can they just bomb from orbit? Can they just do horrible things to you? Well, I think that's partly going to be due to how much defense you have, how hidden your base is, lots of stuff. It's going to be so many factors, and those factors are still being worked in. It's not going to be Hercules A2 equals I win button. They don't want that. They want, they're going to want ground assaults, they're going to want people attacking from air and all that sort of stuff to happen, but they're going to want it to be balanced. So bases that have got huge amount of anti-air defenses, you're probably not going to be able to just annihilate from orbit with just one A2. Maybe with loads of them, you could probably take out the defenses, or maybe anti-air defenses have shields that you have to take out from the ground, or significantly more easy to take out from the ground, so you'd have to ground assault the base and stuff like that. But you're going to have lots of other defenses as well, and I'm assuming little beacony things that tell you you're being attacked. You'll have to hire NPCs potentially to guard your base as well. So there's going to be defenses, there's going to be things that you can defend your base with. We just don't know exactly what yet. Is the Obtain drive really worth it? It depends on your... I don't think so. Like, they're so expensive. You can get like a Samsung 960 or just a reasonably priced NVMe SSD drive for like double or triple the size for half the price, even less than half the price. For some people, Optane and the 3D, the cross-point NAND technologies and stuff like that are going to be great, but they are incredibly expensive at this stage. 1 second, so 1818. I've got a... Hey, what's up, Board? I'm here in Liverpool for the UFC fights this weekend. Scousers are crazy, man, and I can't understand what they're saying. Thank God that I don't have to read what... Buggerton and some of my other friends, they type northern things. We like share some like northern tweets and things, and I can't understand what the fuck they're saying either. But it's local and cultural, isn't it? It's all weird, like local accents and things that is hard to pick up on. Thank you very much, KW0311. Thank you very much for that $10 money's appreciated. Love your face. We've read that. We've looked at that. We've talked about outposts. We talked about the Obtain drive. I think they're super overpriced, but you know, some people buy that stuff. I will be buying one because I want to test it. I get the opportunity. That's one of the things I want to do. Is I want to be able to go, fuck it, it's new, it's super expensive, but I want one because I want to test it and have a look at it. Do you know if there's still Optane drive with the Raven ship available and where to buy them from? I don't know that for sure. I purchase most of my stuff from like overclockers and places like that in the UK's. You'll have to search around, potentially contact the company to make sure they've still got those codes with them. Was curious if they ever reddited the ability to attack other people at Grimhex again, restored Korea to a PvP hub again or not. So, some places in the verse are still armistice zones, unfortunately. But they will be changing so that nowhere is an armistice zone in the future, and that there are defences from NPCs and criminality and reputation hits based on doing things that you're not supposed to in those areas and getting caught. Oh, am I drumming on the table? Sorry. It's probably my chair. I apologise. What shampoo am I using? It's called Go Fuck Yourself. It's a Russian brand. What do they need to make space combat good? It's still terrible. Well, it's getting better. They need more of the game there to make it better. 3.2 should further improve IFCS and ESP, significantly, in fact. But it was so much better in 3.1.4. It's getting there. It needs time. Is there any way that CIG will scrap the permadeath aspect? I think it's very unlikely. I actually find it appealing. It's not going to be too terrible if you die. They want your mortality to matter to you. Like, they want you to have risk-reward. They want you to go, I don't want to die. You don't want to just respawn. Otherwise, you have, like, people exploiting stuff, and you don't really care so much about your toon. You'll be able to recreate a toon if they die, and you'll just get some, like, a small form of tax or something when you do die. Maybe some reputation hit. I don't find it off-putting at all, but each their own. Yeah, I think 3.2 Evocati within the next 2-3 weeks. Probably close to the next 2 weeks, yeah. And news on player progression outside of obtaining more credits. Well, there's loads of stuff that's being talked about, nothing like super confirmed. We know that we're going to get a lot more in the form of like progression-based gameplay this year, and that's the plan anyway, but we're not really sure what form that will take, other than we're going to be having lots more players and servers, there's going to be greater ship persistence, there is going to be land claims and that sort of stuff going on, so there are going to be more and more hooks to play. There's almost certainly going to be the ability to buy ships in-game at some point this year. I was hoping for 3.2, but seeing they're refusing to answer the question at the moment, I'm hoping that in RTV today, in a couple of hours, or an hour and a half, whenever it is, that people will ask them that question. I don't want them to be, like, bombarded with it, but I want them to recognise that question has been answered, and then once they go, no, we're not answering again, or once they answer it, then stop answering the question. But it's important. It's something that we should know, because I was expecting it. I was expecting it ages ago. Yeah, so in regards to manipulating the land, there's not going to be much in the way of actually affecting the geometry, I don't believe, other than destroying mineable nodes. And they've talked about topsoil, so you might be able to change the topsoil. We've seen greenhouses now. We are going to have to farm and do crops and that sort of stuff in the moisture farms and farming areas and lots of stuff like that. So we're not sure if it's going to be entirely domed everywhere, or if it's just you are going to be able to have some where you just have crops outside, but there will be farming. Is the 600i really going to be better than the Aquila? If so, in which points? Well, I expect the Explorer version to be better than the Aquila. It just sort of like it's going to have better components as standard. The Aquila is going to be cheaper and more focused. Well, I say more focused. It's going to be better value, I suppose. The 600i is expensive and it's luxury, but it does have those more expensive components. It doesn't have a snub fighter though, which the Aquila does have for scouting. It's going to be bigger as well, the 600i, so potentially the Aquila might be able to get into places that the 600i is not. Once the Avenger redesign is complete, what do you feel is the ship most deserving of a redesign? 300 series, which is going to get one. After the 300 series, I want to see the scythes just upped. I'm pretty sure they are going to be. I'm pretty sure the scythes have actually already been redone in line with the blades, probably, but we just haven't seen that. Obviously, the 300 series. I want to see the Redeemer redone, I suppose. I want to see the Redeemer in game. Hey, what's your opinion version of Endgame and Star Citizen when the game does finally come out. That's an important thing, because basically what they're saying is everything is Endgame, sort of like Eve at every level, because you can do anything constantly. And you can go around without a ship, you can go around as people's crew. So it's important that they do kind of define higher level and harder level stuff, and which doesn't exclude people necessarily. And there's content for everyone. So I don't know is the answer to that. We need to see how all these mechanics work. We need to see, other than buying ships, what is there going to be to do? Are there going to be giant incursions from Vandal that we have to fight? Is it going to be very Eve similar with war targets and big org fights? And is there going to be loads of story aspects that we can get involved with in the PU? We don't 100% know yet. A lot of people are expecting Eve 2.0. And I'm okay with a lot of the Eve 2.0 tenets that would... Like, Eve is a great space game. There is a lot of improvements that can be made to it. There's lots of toxicity with it, but you get that with any game. But it's had a hugely long run. It's done a lot of stuff right. It's done some stuff wrong. But it's got a lot of good things that Star Citizen can learn from it. And then merge the first-person shooter gameplay in. Can have that huge level of fidelity. Can actually have ship combat that requires a different kind of skill. When are RSI going to release City Planets? So we're going to see planets in 3.3. We're going to see planet anyway. And so that is going to be in September. That's going to be Hurston. And we're also going to see a load of new moons and biomes around Hurston. And that there will be a city on that planet and lots of industry. However, that is not a city planet. In 3.4, you're going to see ArtCorp. And it's going to be a city planet. And that's going to be in December. Will female character creation be Andromedaed and end up looking hideous in comparison to the males? I fucking hope not. No. So the reason they've haven't released the female model so far, and it will be released in 3.4, I believe, in December. That will be a customizable player character female model for 3.4, is because they wanted the skeleton and all the animations and everything to match up, but be unique for the male and female. So they're going to have the same animations that they can do, but one is for a male and one is a female. They're not scaled down or anything. They're not all the male animations that have just been, well, now it's on the female model and we just made the skeleton smaller. They are going to be unique to the female model, but they're going to have the same, you know what I mean, the same sets. But you know what I mean? Unique, but the same list. So they can both wave, but the woman might wave more femininely. You get what I mean, though. It was really bad explaining that. Will the Caterpillar get a bigger rework? I don't think so. We're going to see the modules and modularity stuff for it. Potentially I'll start talking about that relatively soon, but we'll probably start to see a lot of it come into the game next year. The Caterpillar is just a cargo freighter at the moment, which is annoying, because obviously the Caterpillar is going to be one of the most modular ships in the game, and they haven't really talked about what modulars they're going to be. If we get Greg's pasties in-game, which would you choose out of the vending machine? Wouldn't buy Greg's out of the vending machine. I get it. Like I used to enjoy their sausage rolls before they got too fatty. Used to enjoy their steak bakes before they got too fatty. Probably chicken and mushroom at the moment. Oh no. Sausage roll still, I think, actually. What is your opinion of 3.1.4 flight combat model? Are you satisfied with the ESP? No, not entirely. It needs work still. The IFCS and the ESP still needs work. Significantly better, though, than it has been since 3.0. Is Shadow really worth it? Are there lags and slowdowns? Yeah, so it's going to be different for everyone based on where you are in the world and your internet connection and lots of stuff. Shadow is basically leveraging cloud computers to have to run a Windows 10 gaming PC on your phone or on your tablet or on your shitty PC or on the go or whatever. So the idea is that you leverage an internet connection to use their PCs, and then you can play as if you've got a 1080 and a powerful processor and all that sort of stuff. So it is great for some people, not so great for other people. There is small amount of latency issues with with the service, because you are literally being it from the internet, so latency can be an issue, but it's going to be different for everyone. So as long as you've got like over 50 megs connection, and if you are, I'm hoping that they have the ability to trial it at some point, because I've had great success with it, and most of the people I've talked to have had great success. However, there have been some really weird edge case issues, with some people not having the best success with it. Most of them have been solved now, I believe, if not all of them. But I couldn't recommend it for everyone, because there are going to be some people with crappy internet connections that it just doesn't work with, or it's too slow, or there is latency issues with. But I've had great experiences with it. Thank you very much for the bits, Verdindiz. That's how I'm going to say your name from now on. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's a lot of bits. But yeah, I like Shadow. I think it's great. I'll be using it when I go to LANs and stuff now. I'll be taking just a really slimline laptop. I can use it for video editing and all that sort of stuff as well. It's really great for me, and it's pretty damn good for Star Citizen. If you were trying to play a competitive FPS where every fractional latency millisecond counted, I probably wouldn't recommend it for that at the moment. I just wanted to say thanks for the content you create and the time you invest in the content. Triton, thank you very much. I invest time in the content because it effectively pays the bills by people watching it. And I get to make whatever the fuck I want. It's great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Can you catch me up on what you've been talking about on the stream? I'm a little late. But rewind! Rewind it. Why is CIG... I've just been answering questions. We'll go away for the news and stuff in a bit. Why is CIG setting up Delaware corporations and transferring its California-based stuff to there? I suspect they're opening companies because of taxes and money and stuff. Ask them. But I mean, they've got a load of companies, and large companies like that probably move money around for tax purposes and things. Despite Pew Pew being a top tier sound effect, will the Terrapin get new sound effects for your channel next month? Less than 3 your face. I love my face as well. Or your face? Yes. No. I don't know. Pew pew. I got one with the ship, the Octane. Is it worth it if you like high tech? Oh, I see. I'm a supporter of Star Citizen, but do you think buying ships at the moment will ruin the experience? Yeah, so that's a good question. I do think it will, partly. If you're going to be buying ships and you're going to try to be skipping effectively early game, so I'm going to buy a Super Hornet because I don't want to do any of the early game stuff. I want to go straight into space combat. I think you might be missing out on the grind with the Mustang to the Avenger Titan to mid-tier fighter to then the top-tier combat fighters. You might be missing out on that content. We don't know yet because Star Citizen, as we talked about earlier, its end game is not really defined either, and everything might be end game. So maybe you will still be going to do missions in those lower tier ships because of reasons. I like the idea of Star Citizen's space combat and flight mechanics. They need to be tweaked more though, for me anyway. Specifically for me. Is it worth upgrading my i5 7600? Nope. It's a solid processor at the moment. Later on you'll want to upgrade to make use of more threads, but no real point in upgrading yet. How much do you think will the ship persistence improve in 3.2? We're going to have persistent damage. Let's have a direct read of the Riald map. I've misspelt it. 3.2 gameplay. Where is improved ship persistence? Improvements to the core system responsible for persisting ship records on the persistent universe. Improvements. This system enables many features, including persistent damage, ship variables, and consumables. We don't really know, is the answer to that. So ship damage should start persisting. Hopefully we'll start to be able to spawn consistently in our ships, wherever we left our ship, stuff like that. And missiles and ammo and stuff like that will need to be actually restocked rather than just parking our ship somewhere and assuming next time we log in that our ship is just full. And so we're just going to have to start doing stuff like that. It's also going to be important for the customization of components. You're going to start to get lots and lots and lots more ship customization that matters in 3.2. And when you park your ship there or it gets stolen or whatever, that customization stays with it. Why do I have a Hornet in my hangar when I haven't purchased one? I'm not a subscriber or an owner of a concept ship. It might be a loaner for another ship that you have, even if it's not a concept ship. They occasionally give you one because you've got like a Starfarer or something, and they still want you to play in Arena Commando. Do you know where the Orion is currently in the terms of progress? I know it's doubled in size. I don't know exactly where it is in progress. We will see a ship shape where they talk about it relatively soon. I think it was in starting grey box, but it doubled in size. It's huge now. It's huge. Once ships are available with in-game funds, do you think shop sales will drop off? No, I think they'll increase. I wouldn't be too upset if in the future CIG has a similar to, well, less aggressive than Eve's Plex model when it comes to subscriptions. I wouldn't mind that too much where it goes. You get bonuses and stuff that aren't game-breaking, because the Eve ones you do need to be an Omega clone rather than an Alpha clone to experience the game fully, really. But we'll have to wait and see. Like, that would be in the far future. I'm not talking about, like, the game's released and now their subscription model. I'm talking about in, like, 10 years' time. Is there going to be some sort of leveling up system? No. No leveling. Technically, your NPCs might level. They'll gain skills, and their skills will change. They have stat-based skills. You, however, your genuine own player skill is what powers everything. You get better at stuff by getting better at it. There's no stats for you. You might be able to gain like reputation and stuff. They've talked about reputation systems. So yeah, military ranking gain and stuff like that's potentially going to be something that you get. Will players ever be able to build their own ships? I'd like that. I'd like manufacture to be on a larger scale, to be something in game where you could build weapons, munitions, ships, that sort of stuff. But it's unconfirmed. Yeah, I love the idea of giant things to build, like a Bengal or a Retribution class super dreadnought, things like that. I think that's a great idea. So yeah, so Eve has a lot of stuff when it comes to the PvP that Star Citizen can learn from as well, because some people in Eve just want to watch the world burn, and that's a semi-valid way of playing. It's not necessarily griefing to want to eat the salty tears of your enemies. It's only griefing if you're griefing. And we will talk about this in a lot more detail in the future, because I know it's a polarizing topic, but it's... I think some people are relatively naive when it comes to PvP, and some people are worried that it's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be neither of those things. Like, there are going to be some areas that are very PvP orientated. There was going to be, especially early on in like alpha and beta of the game, there's going to be as many exploits as people can do. So if they can alpha strike you as you come out of a jump point, and someone could blow up your ship as you coming out before you can react, there's stuff like that will happen, and then it will get balanced before the game goes live. There's still going to be lots of like horrible things that occasionally happen to people. Will the Constellation Taurus go up in price from $150 in 3.4? I don't know. I hope not. It might do. I was expecting ships to go up when they became entirely flyable, but sometimes they don't. A lot of people were saying 3.0 was going to make or break the game. Did you agree? No. And do you think the update was successful? I mean, it was successful when it updated. It definitely said 3.0, and I definitely played it. It's an alpha, and it was very early stage, and a lot of the tech worked, and a lot of the tech didn't work, or was buggy as fuck until now. Loads of stuff's still buggy, but it's very playable now. There's not that much to play, you can see a lot of the bare bones of the systems now, and you can go, oh, I can see where this is going. I think Star Citizen is going to be a great game when it's released, and I love the project as it is at the moment, but it's going to take time. Are you confident they will start pumping planetary bodies out faster once they get the tech sorted? It seems like they have a lot of work to do. Yeah, they do have a lot of work to do, and yeah, once they have... So, planetary bodies, a lot of the building sets and a lot of the biomes and stuff, they are building modularly. So they'll have these huge sets of buildings and environment biomes, asset sets, and plants and creatures and all this sort of stuff built out. And then they'll do edits to them so they can have a huge amount of them. And then they'll make them modular and semi-procedural, some of them, so they can have these massive amount of variations across loads of different biomes that all look very different. So that's going on at the same time that they are working on general planetary tech. So when you have the standard system fully done, which will probably be mid-2019, they can then rapidly produce a huge amount of planets, variations, and systems. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Star Citizen? 7 out of 13? I don't know. I don't know how to quantify that. I like it. I think it's good. I want time to have passed so that it's done. Do you know what I mean? Any news on the release of Squadron 42? No, the last I've heard is that Squadron 42 will go onto the general roadmap at some point. It will probably be tested by the Evocati a few weeks before it actually goes live. But I don't know anything more than that at the moment. What sort of org features do you want in the game? Similar org features to Eve. I actually want limited-sized orgs, unless there's some form of org tax based on your size, which goes to the UE or something, because otherwise you could have just mega orgs, which are just overly large. So I think there needs to be some form of balance there, probably. And I'm willing to change my opinion by people talking to me and explaining things. But I want ships to be able to be shareable. I want there to be lots and lots of social features with orgs, lots of org play. Orgs have their own reputation, which is separate from a member's reputation, but they also are influenced by each other. There's loads of stuff I think they can do org feature-wise. Will we have any planet side in 3.2 instead of moons? Yeah, you're having her. No, 3.3 for Huston. It's still going to be moons for 3.2. Still moons for 3.2. Will they implement a tech tree to earn ships in-game? You're going to be able to buy ships in-game. There might be some of them which are locked behind reputation when it comes to like buying them off an NPC. So buying a Banu merchantman might require you to have quite a high reputation with a particular trader or Banu or the Banu state in general, or whatever. But you'll be able to buy them off players anyway. You need really a minimum amount of RAM of 12 gigs. Minimum! And that's borderline. If you're not doing anything else, then 12 gigs is fine. But 16 really, and then I have 32. Or the Stormbringer, yes, Big JR. Feel free to chuck your website in there. Let's fucking bring it up. So JR Fabrication, they make official Star Citizen props. They do very cool things. They make like desks and things that you've seen at like Gamescom and stuff like that, and at BritainCon. They made some really cool stuff. And they make official Star Citizen like cases for PCs and desk cases and fridges and lots of cool stuff. Check them out. Stop everyone looking like Master Chief. Do you think they should put mechanics in game to make players only use spacesuits when needed? No, it's fine. I think they should have maybe the helmets fold up or something. Okay, just the visor folds up or something. I think if you're fully encased, maybe you should use your oxygen supply or something. After getting all ships in Elite Dangerous, I spent most of the time in smaller ships. More fun and more of a challenge. Okay, now I can see that. I find the Star Citizen universe pretty empty right now, with only 50 players an instance. How realistically is CIG going to handle that with even optimized future LOD levels? Okay, good question. Two things are going to make that significantly more possible, and it's one of the reasons you don't see planets or more people at the moment. They're going to have server meshing, which is going to be in 3.4, which allows multiple servers to handle areas of the game seamlessly based on their population. So if you have 100 people in a little area, a server or two will be handling that area, and then if you've got like 10 people in a large area around it, just one server will be handling that, and then they cross over, and if 10,000 people jumped into another area, then multiple servers would chunk that up and cut that up and run that area. But for 3.3, so before that, in September, we're getting object container streaming. And object container streaming is a core technology of Star Citizen, possibly the biggest component of their core tech, to allow areas to be streamed in and out significantly more intelligently and efficiently, and to be cut up into boxes. It's why 3.0 had to smash down the previous sort of like map that was the persistent universe, and then make it ready for object container streaming, or object containers. And so these object containers contain a list of all of the entities and objects and all that sort of jazz that's in them, and sensibly stream them in based on how close you are to them and that sort of stuff. That is needed, 100% essentially needed for more players in game, and for large areas, and so like planets, and for the Idris and things like that, capital ships, all super important. Can't exist without them. Do you think we'll be seeing any space anomalies in Star Citizen? Yep. You'll see black holes, you'll see radiation fields, you'll see weird phenomena, you'll see lots of environmental effects that will affect your ships. I mean, the coil, for example, that they do show occasionally is in the Odin system. It's Odin 1, which has exploded because it got hit by a star. It's created like weird electrical effects which will interfere with your systems, but also will shock your ship and stuff like that. There's going to be radiation fields and giant gas clouds. You can see them in the background now. How to earn ships in game? Tech trees? No. It's gonna, you just buy them in game with monies. Again, as I said, some might be reputation based. Some ships like the F8 Lightning, you'll be able to buy off other players, but you might need to unlock by playing Squadron 42, for example. That'll give you a more easy access to it. Has the CIG business model shifted the game to being pay to win yet? Well, so it's not pay to win at the moment because the game doesn't exist properly yet. However, there are definitely elements of pay to win in CIG's business model, and if they don't handle it correctly, the game would be pay to win and people would be pretty fucking pissed off. So it's too early to say whether it's going to be pay to win. However, I think we as a community will forcibly keep them clean in that regards. It's going to be as pay to win probably as EVE is. Yeah, I think a lot of people wouldn't mind a subscription model in the future to fund the game, to keep it from not being pay to win and stuff like that in the future. And I'm talking many years in the future, well after release, like a long, long time after release. But I think that I think it's going to be quite big Star Citizen, like quite genuinely, and I think there's going to be a huge community behind it. So, do players get a ship to race in for races like they do in Arena Commander? Oh no. So you're basically, if your ship's too large for Arena Commander, you'll get a small fighter, typically like a Hornet or something. But you'll have to use that for racing as well. But you can obviously do some Vandal Swarm or something multiplayer, and then rent with Wreck a ship for racing. But they're constantly working on Levski. Levski's lag is as sin. We know that. Better than it's previously been, though. When do you think we will see ship purchases? I know it was addressed recently in a video, and the answer was not yet. Following up, we'll have to see. So in an hour's time, there's an RTV. Maybe they'll answer it then, but we don't know. I was hoping it would be 3.2. It's certainly now unconfirmed for 3.2. They're just not talking about it, which is a massive piss take. It's really angry. It's made me really angry. Well, maybe not angry. Annoyed? They should answer the question. Why do you think CIG sold land pots but have not sold apartment living accommodation, which seems a much more attractive and lucrative sell? It's because they haven't So with a lot of the land claim stuff, and they haven't sold plots of land. That's a misnomer. They've sold land claims. So land claims are basically the protection of the UEE within UEE space. So you don't need a land claim to set up land, especially not in unclaimed territory, but it just affords you the protection of the UEE in that area. With apartments and living accommodation, they haven't fully fleshed out the ideas there.
Me some monkey meat.
Oh, JDs, thank you very much. That's pretty sexy. Monkey meat. So they haven't fleshed out what they want to do with accommodation when it comes to city planets and flats and hangars and stuff. They are thinking about it. Now, you might say they haven't done that with land claims, but they are, to a larger, greater extent, looking at land claims. And land claims are going to be in 3.4 in December. Some gameplay with that, and some of the legal ramifications of them, and probably some of the exploiting resources on them and stuff like that, or at least looking to build bases in some way, maybe, because they're going to have reasons to have that land there, rather than just, look, I own this big patch of land. Do you know what I mean? So there's going to be something that they have to, like, maybe surveying or something. But yeah, I agree with you, like, selling hangars on planets, selling accommodation, would be more lucrative. But the game, they don't want to overly monetize the game. They want to make as much money as they can sensibly without pissing off the community too much, because they want to fund their game and they want to make it the best they can be.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Holy crap, 18 months is insane.
Nubifire, love your face, thank you very much, much appreciated. It is, 19 months is insane. We have to get you on the Twitches at some point soon. I don't know if in the latest ATV, Sean Tracy introduced Will Weisbaum as lead writer. Has Dave Haddock left the project? I don't know. I'll check. Do you think we'll be able to have flats or houses other than planetary outposts? If so, any idea of tech used? There might be other structures in the future, but at the moment we just know about outposts, some defensive structures. There are going to be other things that can be placed on planets that the Pioneer doesn't place. So they've talked about, like, potentially having hangars and landing pads and stuff like that as well. Which update this year are you most excited for? 3.4, because of server meshing. Well, maybe 3.3. Maybe 3.3 because of object container streaming. You know if cities will have a dedicated landing zone for different industries? Surely cargo ships, transportation ships, etc., etc., will all need unique ground crew and facilities. I don't know. I doubt it, though. Like, large ships, huge ships, won't be able to land. They'll have to dock in orbit and stuff like that. Or dock in stations nearby. But they won't be able to land. So maybe you can... There'll be smaller hangars and larger hangars that you landed on the ground. Do you think Chris Roberts will ever learn to pronounce Aegis and Gamescom? No. Aegis. Aegis. However you want to say it, mate. I think, isn't it Aegis? Isn't that how you're supposed to pronounce it? Do you know if larger ships will be able to lock and fire missiles 360 rather than just directly in front of the ship? That's a good question, actually. Like, I'm hoping that turret gunners can lock turrets for you, to lock missiles for you and fire, because why not? So on fighters, it's more relevant for fighters only firing forward, I suppose. It's a good question. I don't know. Aren't you worried about the flow of the game being interrupted with the unnecessary time wasting for animations like entering into the ship, sitting in the pilot seat, etc.? You're going to be able to do those animations a lot quicker. There's going to be, like, very fast animations for getting in ships, which most people will use most of the time, I suppose. There was also going to be animation cancelling as well in the future. Now they confirmed that. I now see UEC, not UAC, costs $1 per 1,000. Do you think ships will have proportional cost? We don't know yet. And ship prices are going to fluctuate in game based on the amount they're getting destroyed, the materials that are getting to an area, lots of different factors. So I wouldn't buy any form of UEC right now because we don't know how that's going to scale. However, if you did buy it, they probably would scale it up based on their final balance. Probably. I loved the fact that Peter Capaldi is in Squadron 42 as an interviewer. I think that was really cool. There was a 2013 page on the RSI website about manufacturing. It's about the economy in general, isn't it, the one you're talking about? Yeah, there's potentially a lot of components and a lot of manufacturing they can do and lots of science stuff, like they might be able to make drugs and things as well. But I'm very pro-manufacturing games. Like, I like the idea of making ships, making components, making lots of things like that, outposts and all that sort of stuff. At this moment, what is the most short-term goal you're looking forward to in game development? Object container streaming. 100% object container streaming. Is there any good news about org tools and gameplay stuff? They're working on them. Expect to see a lot more this year. Do you think they will eventually do a concept ship for a mid-tier miner? Yes. Or modules, therefore, thereof. So they want a small, medium, and large ship for each of the roles, where sensible, and potentially a capital one as well. So I'm thinking that they're going to have a medium storage runner, because this is the stuff we saw on the Drake. There was a Drake vote last year about what next Drake ship do we want, and they had lots of suggestions. And the Starlifter was actually one of those suggestions there that didn't win, but obviously makes sense, so they put it in the game. But there was the Scout Carrier, which was the Kraken, that was talked about, which would be cool. That's like a civilian giant capital ship for storing multiple ships on. Medium storage runner was discussed. A Drake version of the Constellation was discussed. I don't think we need that. We've got the 600 series. Something else might have been discussed as well. Oh, obviously the Vulture, which is the small salvage ship. I suspect we will see lots more ground vehicles, lots more ground assault ships, some air superiority things as well, probably, and probably a medium mining ship at some point. If Chris Roberts isn't paying you, which he isn't, I'm not paid by Intel or CIG or Star Citizen or anything. I'm an entirely fan-based channel. I get paid basically from people watching my YouTube videos and Patreon, which is the main ways you can support me, by donating or Patreoning or watching my stuff, which is very much appreciated, by the way. You do an excellent job pacifying us, answering public relation game questions. I don't want to necessarily pacify the community. I want to answer questions and know what the community's doing. I also want to connect with my community, because I want to cover the news for the game. I don't need to necessarily cover it in a positive light, but I will probably, because I like the game and I like what I do with it. I'm going to be annoyed at CIG sometimes. I'm going to dislike certain game mechanics, but I think I'm a pretty reasonable chap. I will cover it as neutrally as possible. I say neutral. It's almost always going to be slightly fanboy, because I like what I do. I like the game, so I'm going to talk about it in a relatively upbeat manner. However, I will certainly give CIG the beat down when they've done naughty things or stuff I don't like. Speaking of which, do you know if Ben Lesnick left the project? No, so Ben Lesnick has Thingamajig and his wife Lexa will be remoting in. They've moved, but they are still working with the company, I believe. They are doing remote sessions now, so they are working remotely from home. I'm not sure if that's to do with Ben's health or something. But, do you think they will implement in-game events where you can get special items and more in the future? Maybe. Special items is an interesting one. Like, I think you might get special skins and things like that for items. And I think you might be able to, obviously, overclocking is going to be a thing. So you might be able to get tweaked items that are like the top level of tweaking. And yeah, there might be unique weapons in game, or very, very rare weapons, like certain weird alien tech, or some sort of like bounty weapon they don't normally sell. So yeah, maybe. What? Wah! Why doesn't Twitch auto start playing the stream when I'm in the channel? Is it an option? When you I don't know.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Coffee Hall, thank you very much for the sub. Love your face. Much appreciated. Flyable ships are still being updated and polished, I suppose, until the game's released, and potentially even after that. Assume that flyable ships, though, typically are only going to have minor tweaks and sweeping generalized tweaks that all other ships get. That's not necessarily true because they do give them little model and materials updates occasionally sometimes as well. And they do revisit ships if they need to. The 300 series is going to be the next one done after the Avenger and a Mustang. Bored, I feel character movement, Wasad, is a bit lacking. Yeah, so it's getting there. So there's going to be better animations and smoother animations in the future. They're adding in animation cancelling, so you can start picking up bots and stop doing that. If you get far enough away from an object when you're interacting with it, you're going to break off that animation as well. You're not going to be so teleporty or juttery when you're going towards objects as well. You're not going to snap to things so much with an animation, which is cool. But yeah, they're definitely going to be improving those animations further with the standard run and walk and move. And they also talked about being able to set a move and walk and emote style with your character, so there might be multiple different ways of walking and all that sort of stuff in the future. Cock. Sorry, that's because I lost my place rather than you being a cock. Apologies. But yes, it stuff like that. I love the idea of the procedural frames as well. Like, so the animation frames are procedurally generated based on what it needs to do. So like if you're stepping over a gap, if you're putting your foot on a chair because you're in an odd position, that's all done procedurally, which is awesome. Any idea if CIG have been watching The Expanse for gameplay ideas? I would expect CIG to be heavily influenced by every cool sci-fi thing ever. Because there's lots of different people making lots of different things. Do you think of the current light levels in the PU? What do I think of them? To me, everything seems dark. You can turn up your gamma. You can turn up turn down your contrast or whatever. Yeah, some stuff is certainly dark. I see what you mean. I don't like the way that when you turn on your torch, if there's any form of dust, you can't see anything because it's just like just white. Like when you're in the Reclaimer, for example. Atomic Films, I'll talk about how I am and stuff in a bit. Like, yeah, wait a minute. Yes, Phantom Killer, I need to start getting more, I need to actually start getting involved gameplay-wise with all the other content creators like The Few and Twerk and people like that, so I definitely will. I'd love them to have me. Do the game universe will be in a unique procedural galaxy? It is effectively a unique galaxy. It doesn't exist. It's not a real galaxy. What are your thoughts on Crytek? A potato. Yeah. You're talking about you're talking about the Crytek lawsuit, I assume. I don't know, really. I don't think Star Citizen is in any real trouble, to be honest. I think even at the worst case, the world explodes. But less than worst, slightly less than worst case. I think that Star Citizen might have to give them a few million to chill. But that's worst case. I think. Probably relatively unfounded, or it's just a sort of like, well, we're interpreting it this way. You see these sort of law cases quite often. It's a shame. I think it's a bit greedy, Crytek, but I do think that they are potentially, it's because they need money desperately. But we haven't had any updates on jump points in years. Aren't they needed for Squadron 42? Yeah. And for Star Citizen. I suspect we'll see them at CitizenCon, or maybe this year. Do you think we'll be seeing any updates on the Vanguards anytime soon? Probably not. Not soon. So they're going to update that goofy running animation. I suspect to see better ones. Pretty much every major patch, actually. I suspect you will see some better animation tweaking and less goofiness in 3.2 even. Space is dark. There's no info on the release of Star Citizen. I'm expecting a beta in about a couple of years. The roadmap is the closest thing you can get to any form of tangible release schedule. And that only shows around 12 months of info. How do you think spawning for the first time will work when the game launches? I think you'll choose spawning locations and choose hangar locations for your ships. And there'll be a few areas where you can choose to spawn. I know that this question might have been asked a lot. Sorry to ask again. When do you think we can expect to see a release of Squadron 42 and a beta release of Star Citizen? Squadron 42, we don't know. I'm expecting it middle of next year now. But I don't know. We could see Squadron 42 this year. Who fucking knows? And they are so tight-lipped with that. When I do my studio tours as well, you get to see some Squadron 42 stuff, like normally ships and cool little things. But they are so tight-lipped about Squadron 42. It's like it is their magnum opus when it comes to single-player games and things. Like it is going to be a massive make or break for Star Citizen. And from the stuff I've seen, it looks fucking great. But they are spending a lot of time making it perfect, or as near perfect as they can. I'm using a 8700K i7. I'm actually been looking at the 8086Ks, the anniversary editions. They look pretty cool as well. Is there still no plans for a crafting system? So what we know is that they've talked about science crafting, so potentially being able to make drugs and compounds and things like that you could sell. And it doesn't go too far to think that we'll be able to have a manufacture of munitions and ammo and stuff potentially in the future. And there's mining and refining. You'll be able to place things on planets. You'll be able to build things on planets. So hopefully they'll have a more in-depth crafting system. I don't want like inventory crafting. I don't want to make a bow out of sticks or something. I want, tangible, manufactured things. And then people have like drugs planets and cool things like that. It's going to be farming. There's going to be growing of things. How many ships will there be in the game eventually? Lots. Because of variants as well. Lots. 164 or something stupid at the moment. Do you think they'll sell the Vandu Blade or make it rare? It will be relatively rare. There'll be like materials shortages. You'd have to kill a load of scythes and glaives and bring their parts to Esperia to get another one made, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be able to make those materials. You're going to be able to salvage and scavenge them. But yeah, I suspect the Vandal ships in general will be pretty rare or expensive. Yeah, so Port Olisar's an odd one. Like, Port Olisar will almost certainly be replaced with the new modular space stations and rest stops. And a lot of people don't want to see it go. I don't want to see it go either. I like the idea of Port Olisar being like it is, being an older station. Did anything ever come down of the Intel meltdown bug? It decreased my performance by about 3 to 5% when it comes to compiling videos. Not as much as people made out it to be. There's lots of issues now that they're saying there's more Spectre and Meltdown bugs and vulnerabilities, but I'll follow that and see if there's anything that's super tangible, that's like, oh my god, panic, or something you can actually do. You think they will design a true combat dropship capable of carrying... what do you mean? There is. The Hercules! That's literally what the Hercules does. It's large enough to fit 2 tanks. See the Nova tanks? I thought Mr. Roberts said something about modifying things like weapons or other components with a workbench. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with the workbench now. I think the workbench is kind of semi-defunct. But the Endeavour has a collidery thing, which is for overclocking of weapons and items. Yes, so overclocking is going to be a thing that's literally going to be tweaking how efficient and certain items are. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work, but that's what it does. You should be able to tweak and improve them and overclock them in other ways, not just in the Endeavour as well, I suppose. At Star Citizen launch, which ship will we be starting the game in personally? Oh, that's a good question. Potentially the Mustang Alpha, or potentially the Avenger Titan. Or if there's something I really want to, like, oh my god, this is the first time I've been able to see this ship, it'll be something else. But while I start to understand the mechanics and how dangerous things are, and if people are waiting for you at jump points trying to Alpha Strike you, I'll be in lower tier ships, definitely. Oh, HC Vertical, thank you very much for the host. I love your face. Very much appreciated. How are you? I'm pretty shocked that Total Biscuit died yesterday. Yes. He was just as old as you and me. Indeed, he's half a year older than me. He was half a year older than me. It is a massive shame and a big loss to the gaming community at large. He is someone to be respected. I genuinely think he was a great person. Similar to the what you're going to start off in question, what's your long-term goal, favourite ship to own, work towards? Bengal Carrier? Idris M? Lots of stuff. I want everything. I genuinely want every ship in the game. As quick as I can.
Oh, beautiful.
Glassberger, thank you very much for the bits. I love you. I love your face. Yes. I'm the best content creator for Star Citizen. Yes! Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Right. So, people want to ask questions? Question in bracket. The Bagel Carrier, no. On a diet. I'll talk a little tiny bit about me and then we'll go into the news. So, recently, I was super depressed a few weeks ago, up until quite recently, with a bit of a... Thank you very much, JP Sandman. That makes me less depressed. And I'm good now. I'm good now. So, too long didn't read. Much better now. Thinking about health. I'm thinking about my physical health now. But I was super depressed with an existential crisis of, like, worrying about death and, oh my god, what if there's nothing? I'm Christian as well, so I was like, it's a crisis of faith, I suppose. But it's irrelevant, my religion and all that sort of shit. Because, you know, it works for me, might not work for you, don't care. I'm good with anyone leading their own lives. I'm very much an individualist. Everyone to their own, as long as they're not hurting each other. Fucking go team. But I was super depressed, like, I'm terrified of, like, leaving the house and things. But significantly better now, brain's sorted out, and Total Biscuit dying was fucking awful and a bit lame. And me having what I thought was a heart attack recently, and having to go to the doctor and stuff, was a bit of a worry, but it was just panic. Yeah. But I'm much better now. I'm good. I'm good now. Some heavy stuff for other people. Bored, currently, when you crash the desktop, you can recover. However, if the game freezes and forces the player to kill the process, recovery does not work. Doesn't it? I thought it still did. I thought it's only if the server crash didn't work. I haven't forced that form of crash. Okay, I'll test that. So I was previously force crashing myself, force closing the program, and recovering. But I haven't tried that in 3.1.4. I haven't had a crash in 3.1.4. Have they given an idea of how much work and time it will take to acquire a shipping game, like the Hercules, for example? No. So what they've said when it comes to progression, is that it's going to be dialed in as they go forward with the economy and with the community, and that will help work out how long it's going to take for progression, which is an interesting answer, seeing that they haven't told us when they're going to put ships to buy in game yet. The sooner they get that, the sooner I think they'll be able to get metrics, and we'll be able to help balance that. Anything we do as fans, supporters, random folks to help you if you're ever in the struggle bus? Yeah, just, you know, I find this is a great platform for me just being able to talk. People watching my stuff, talking on Discord and stuff. There's nothing really you can do. Like, I'm pretty good. I resolve most of the stuff myself. And I appreciate the love, and I appreciate the we're here to help. But thank you, thank you. Nothing I need. Hercules too large for small scale special operation tasks. Your soul is immortal. Well, I hope so. That sounds nice. Game crashes are giving BoredGamer heart palpitations. Oh my god. Do you know when the module system is coming out? I suspect they'll talk a lot more about it this year. And I suspect we'll start to see lots of different modules for ships come into the game and be swappable and that sort of stuff next year. That's when I think the era of modularity will begin in earnest, in actual gameplay terms. So, what did we have this week? So, this week we had Calling of Devs. They talked about animation cancelling and breaking, less snapping of animations, so improved animations, and if we get too far away from an area, we'll stop the animation of that thing. It's not going to, if we interact with our ship and go enter ship, and we run away, it's not going to snap us back to the ship like it does at the moment. And we're about to jump off the ladders and stuff like that if we need to. Death is going to be a thing, permadeath is going to be a thing. Permadeath might not be that much of a sort of like penalty to people that aren't role players. I mean, it's going to give you some sort of like potential death tax. You're going to lose the items that were on your body. You're not going to want to die. There's going to be risk reward and stuff like that. But you will be able to create a new toon when you do permanently die. And you can have multiple lives before you permanently die, and potentially ways of healing that damage that you've taken. But you'll be able to transfer most of your stuff over to your new character. There might be death tax. There might be reputation hit. Quantum travel waypoints are going to be a thing where you go, I'm going to plot this course around here, and you'll be able to avoid certain areas. That's going to be in the future, along with navigator roles. So for larger scale fleets and ships, navigator might be quite important, with multiple ships quantum traveling together and quantum linking and working out what areas that ships should go into and things like that. VTOL is now important as well. So your VTOL thrusters, ships based on their size, are much more affected by gravity. Heavier ships more affected by atmosphere, light, and gravity. At the moment, with the reclaimer and stuff like that, if you haven't got your VTOL thrusters out when you're in an atmosphere and you're not flying right, you're going to get sucked down to the ground and smash and roll over like a beetle. The ATV, they did a bit of a PU update where they talked about Helmet HUD's getting some work. They've got a lot more mission givers and NPC personalities that they're going to be putting in, potentially 3.2. Quantum linking was getting tested, so we're going to see lots of quantum linking and quantum alignment, and even this potentially the spline-based quantum traveling. So I can literally go, I want to travel behind that planet, and it will do a curved quantum travel plot. I'll be able to zoom round to there. They are going to have new shopping kiosks, which was supposed to be the main blocker to viable ships in game, but they still haven't answered that, which is annoying me. But they're going to have branding all these shopping kiosks, and there's going to be ones for ships and vehicles and ones for clothing and armour. They've continued to improve mining visuals for the tractor beameroos. We're going to get item system 2.0 for power allocation in 3.2 as well, so that's all being tested. Heat, when it comes to the amount of power you put into systems, is going to be a thing. You're not going to have enough power to power all your systems at full 100% superpower, so you're going to have to move power around to weapons and to shields and to engines and stuff like that. Scanning for minables is continued to be working on. There's lots more props and hangers. They're doing cool stuff with glass shaders and cracks, and they showed some greenhouses. All the new biomes for Hurston look pretty cool. The trash biome is the sort of like the prominent one for Hurston and Lorville that's coming in 3.3. But also there's going to be loads of other biomes on the moons and that sort of stuff around Hurston as well. So we're going to see savannah, we're going to see forests. Hopefully we'll see desert as well. Hopefully we'll see sea, like water beachy planets. That'll be cool. Acid planets as well, acid biomes. Also, they talked loads about the original legacy armors because they've been reworked to be modular now, so you can buy them in pieces, and they've been updated. But I thought it was pretty cool with the ATVs and stuff. The Hercules Q&A came out basically saying ground attacks and star sets will be a thing, but the A2 won't be a win button, and there's going to be so the Hercules A2 super bomber ship with size 10 bombs won't just be a win button. You're going to be able to set up air defenses and stuff like that, which is good that they've reconfirmed that. But there wasn't that much info they gave us in the Q&A for the Hercules that we didn't really already know. Each of the Hercules variants got 3 beds, small kitchen, and a toilet shower combo. Gravity-assisted bombs at the moment are just going to be for ground assault ships, and they've got more ground assault ships planned for the future, it sounds like. However, they are potentially looking at having those gravity-assisted bombs for a few ships, like the Retaliator. But if you're going to use them in space, it's more likely torpedoes will be a thing. Because gravity-assisted bombs in space are just going to float there. They talked about potentially having proximity ones as well, so maybe in the future we'll use them as mines and things, but I wouldn't count on it. You right, Montoya, mate? What's your favourite in-game job? Industry and economy-based stuff, normally. I'm reserving my right to answer that question in the future when we have more gameplay. Do you know when the... That's what we talked about a minute ago. On death, if we lose items, does that mean people can still loot our dead body? Yeah? Live people can still loot the dead body. Also, you potentially might be able to get back to where you died. So it's probably not going to be a dead body there. After you revive, it will probably be just like a loot pack or something. So you might be able to still get your loot back from that area. I'm not entirely sure. You might be able to insure your items as well at cost. But there will be a full looting system involved in Star Citizen at some point. It was in last year's schedule. Will ships come pre-installed with shield gens, jump drives? Yeah, some of them, most of them. I don't know if they're like the Javelin will, because the Javelin is supposed to be stripped down of all military tech. But typically, ships will come with at least civilian versions of items. Quistin, will you be creating roleplay in-game vid content? Maybe I might do a story similar to like Shadow of Israel, if you've seen the Oscar stuff, in the future. But potentially it depends if I find the right people or if the guys I play games with already are up for it. So potentially. I noticed that due to the... I might do in-game news as well and stuff, like, depends how good the face-over IP and voice-over IP stuff is. I noticed that due to the player survey, search and rescue is no longer on the roadmap anywhere in 3.x. Well, it might still be coming out. It might be rolled into some other stuff. So we don't know exactly when. Also, the Cutlass Red and Blue, they should be done at some point, potentially this year, but maybe not. No, so they do the roadmap for typically around 12 months. So we can see into the first quarter, so March of next year, the 3.5's release. That's the furthest we can see at the moment. CitizenCom, they might give us a deeper roadmap. Do you know when 3.2 comes out as well at the end of June? We should see the 3.6 patch for the end of June next year. And it'll be rough. It'll be sort of like, this is what we've got planned, and that will change. Do you know what inventory limits are going to be? Weight-based, number of items. It's going to be slot-based, as far as I'm aware. So any items you carry, they're basically physicalized. So you have guns that are attached to points. You can have pouches, but they can only carry a certain amount or a certain type of item, and that will fit into a slot in your armor. Or your clothing or whatever. You could potentially have pockets, but you're not going to be able to carry a gun in your pocket unless it's a tiny little concealed gun for that pocket. So it's all going to be physicalized and reasonable. The backpack, I don't even know if they're going to have backpacks in the game, but if they did, it would carry a small amount of gear. Is Roberts opening up more public ship design functions soon? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I like the idea of being able to manufacture our own components, items, munitions, weapons, and potentially ships. And potentially like larger things like space stations and stuff in the future that are giant grand projects. And yeah, I'd love to be able to make a Bengal or whatever. That would be fucking cool. Do you think all the ships will make it in for 3.2? Yeah, I think pretty much everything that they've suggested for 3.2 will probably make it now. Obviously, the Mustangs got pushed back to 3.3. Yeah, the Crucible is going to be a cool starting ship because people will need to repair on the first day, definitely. It's the same as the what the hell is the multi-role ship called? What am I thinking? What am I thinking of? Multi-role, repair, and rearm ship. Why can't I remember it? Why can't I remember what it's called? Why do I want to call it the Prometheus? Vulcan, thank you. Thank you, Daedus. Appreciate it. My brain went blank. Use eye tracking. I'm hoping the Toby eye tracker does become available for this. But no, we'll see with face over IP stuff that they're also integrating head tracking and stuff. So there might be other things that are integrating with it as well. Lots of people saying Vulcan. Appreciate it. Okay. Well. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about majorly? We've got an RTV today. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to be showing on the RTV or who's there. Obviously, the ATV was a studio update for the Persistent Universe, and they looked at armor. So it might be animators and art guys when it comes to armor, but hopefully there'll be some more general questions answered. If they can answer the question about is 3.2 going to have ships you can buy without PVC, I'd be happy, even if it's a no. I'm okay with them just saying, no, we wanted it in, but we're not going to be able to have it in 3.2. I'm fine for them saying that. So the PTU, the first wave Evocati, should be coming anywhere between now and the next 3 weeks. I suspect more likely within the next 2 weeks, and then it'll be opened up to more and more people after the Evocati. We'll be able to say, Evocati-wise, typically, that yes, it's in Evocati, but we won't be able to talk about any of the content of that patch until it's gone to first wave, or subscriber wave, whatever. I'll do a video on what's going to definitely be in 3.2, or probably going to be in 3.2, and how the Evocati waves and everything works. I'll do that over the weekend, probably. Yeah, I think the Mobiglass will probably have loads of apps like a phone, so you'll be able to have like a calculator and timers and all that sort of stuff, pedometers, stuff like that. Think of anything that you can have on your phone will probably be a Mobiglass app for it. Hopefully they'll open an API up so that people can just make mods for the Mobiglass. I think that'll be sodding cool, and probably what they will do. When is the Hercules on sale too? 14th of June, the Hercules is on sale too. I might grab myself a civilian one, but it was expensive, wasn't it? I'm very much looking forward to the biomes. Like, there's some cool biomes. Yeah, that's most of the stuff I wanted to talk about today. Server meshing. So by the end of this year, we should have server meshing in the game. It will be first iteration server meshing, but they want to have as many people in each server as possible by that point. So potentially hundreds in each server, probably. Hundreds and hundreds. Probably not thousands. But they'll keep on working on it. We had a video on Power of the Octane. We talked about Octane already. Yeah. I just want them to answer the question, that's all, with the Bible ship stuff. I don't want to, like, massively browbeat them, but that's the sort of stuff I need to hold them accountable to. I feel like I do, because Aaron answered it in a question to me multiple times, where he said, yeah, it's going to be in 3.1 and stuff like that, and it just wasn't. Or probably will be in 3.1, and it just wasn't, and then they went dark about it. But yeah, it annoys me. Will there be roles or jobs for people in-game, gunner, repairer, medic, etc.? Yeah? You'll be able to do those things. They won't be stats-based. They'll literally be the equipment you've got on you and how good you are at that role. But yeah, you're going to be able to be repairer, gunner, medic, engineer, pilot, a farmer on a planet. Every benchmark I've seen for the Octane. So the joy of the Octane is its latency. Its latency is incredibly low, and they're pretty good drives. And for real world uses, they're great. and they're great for workstations, and they are great for load times. But SSDs, like good NVMe ones, are significantly cheaper and pretty fucking good. So they're a better deal at the moment, certainly. Yeah, so some of the stuff is incredibly expensive when it comes to the Hercules as well. Like the A2 being like $600-700. It's insane. That's insane. Right, any other questions? If you've got no other questions, I'm going to go and eat. And see if anyone else is streaming. Because the RTV will be on pretty soon. There's no one else streaming on BoredGamers. Me and Zin will be playing some Forest later. Hopefully we'll be completing it this weekend. Should be cool. I might even go to the Dota ESL 1 tournament this weekend just for a day to see Buggers and Cameron and people. I know loads of them are down there. No, I don't think consoles will get Star Citizen or Squadron 42. They might. I just think it's very unlikely. This is currently live. Yes, Crazy Canuck. With the current economy model, it's hard for me to earn a set of armor and a weapon, so I'm not really in a rush for ship purchases at FUC. They need to balance the economy so much. And there needs to be a persistent player economy as well in there. Or a persistent player-affected economy, I suppose. That's kind of what I mean. There is no time to eat. If Buzz Lightyear doesn't think he's a toy, why does he stand still like the other toys when a person enters the room? Because he thinks they're an alien, thinks they're like a giant. Doesn't want them to see him. He's trying to hide with them. Maybe? What's your favourite drink of all time? I used to do like the citrus cola. I used to do this like clear cola when I was like 10 years old, and they got rid of it pretty quick. I think probably people died from it or something. But it used to be really nice, and they just don't do it anymore. Right. I'm going to go eat in a second. But massive respects and really terrible to hear that Total Biscuit died. It's a massive shame. Big loss to the community. I hope that I am 10% of that man's, like, I think he was very brave and very dignified. Yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend, and it's a shame. I'm looking to get healthier. I'm looking to lose weight. I'm going to be getting a huge range of medical tests over the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to be talking about a little bit. I might do a specific video about mental health and physical health and my experiences with it, and a bit of signposting for relevancy. I'm also championing Shadow, which is a cloud-based gaming service that basically is a Windows 10 gaming PC, which you can remote into from any device, like a phone, well, not any device, but most devices, like phones and crappy PCs, and basically use that PC as if it's the PC you're currently using. So you have a really powerful gaming PC, but it is dependent on your internet connection and things like that as well. So it's not going to be appropriate for everyone, but it's very appropriate for me. It works really well. So I'll actually, fuck it, I might as well link that, actually. Might as well shill it. There's if you use the code BoredGamer, you get a discount, and I get a kickback from that as well. But I will be making it work with Star Citizen as best as I can. But I think that's the way that we're going, is into cloud-based leveraging of gaming PCs and things like that. There's always going to be a market for people having their own hardware, though. Like I'm in favour massively of both your own custom rigs that are very high powered and cloud-based stuff. I think there's definitely a market for both for the future. What else is there? Anything else? No, RTV in a minute. So RTV's in 15 minutes on twitch.tv/Star Citizen. We'll probably be playing some Star Citizen over the weekend as well with certain people. Zen went missing after last week's Star Citizen when he crashed his bike. I'll see him soon. I will probably be streaming later tonight some Forest as well. On twitch.tv/BoredGamer UK, and probably on Zin and Kit's channel as well. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. I love your faces. Please check out my website. On my website now, there is many things. Fucking force you over here. My website, BoredGamer website, almost entirely Star Citizen based. It's got the other board game stuff on there as well. Guides that get updated regularly for Star Citizen's performance in Windows 10 and Shadow and the latest news, and I will be updating this very regularly. There's also loads of fucking things you can do to support us here, like buying from CD keys or whatever. I don't fucking know. This beautiful clothing. Oh my god, how do I look like this woman that's had my logo photoshopped onto her? Like that sort of thing. Thanks, guys. Love faces. Take care, and I will be back in a bit. Make sure there's no other questions I haven't missed. Love you.